We know about freedoms. The oath of office that you take when you join the military talks about defending the Constitution, your rights to be U.S. citizens, to live free, to do things free, and not always told what to do. We make mistakes. We don't always make the right decision or plan things out correctly, but it is our country, and we need to stand by it. I also believe it's a chance for us to carry on a tradition that's been set on before us through people, your grandfathers, your grandmothers, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers who've gone before us to lay out a plan and a nation so that we can live. It's my job to leave this world better than when I came in. One of the reasons why I joined the service. As you know, Nathan is my son. Have any of you gone away from home for a period of time and then come back? Probably all of you, right? You should all raise your hands. Some of you for a month and a half, 2 months. I think for Nathan, maybe the longest extended period he's gone is 2 months. Fabian was here with us last year, was gone for 10 months from home, and then went back. So I'll tell you a little story. Nathan comes into the house, he drops his book bag, he takes his shoes off, his laundry bag's over there, his phone's on the counter, his wallet's on the table, his computer, his laptop's on the living room table. He grabs something to drink, goes up in his room, takes his clothes off, changes them, the clothes stay on the floor. He starts to drink what he has in his hand, he leaves it in his room, goes down the basement, gets another drink while he goes down there and watches TV, leaves that drink, and along with the plate that he had a little snack down the basement. I come home from work, after Nathan's been gone for a month and a half, 2 months, and there is all this crap, excuse my language, all over my house. The first thing I say to Nathan, and he'll tell you, and his mother comes down the steps when she hears me say, "What is all this crap around the house?" Nathan's home. Great. Nathan, come here. This is our house. It's not St. Andrews anymore. It's not your dorm room. You need to learn to assimilate back into our home. Nathan's standing there saying, "I thought this was my home. I lived here before I left, and I came back. I'm not a visitor. I'm your son." Right, but you've been gone for a while, and then you came back. Take that feeling that Nathan has and multiply it 10 times for a soldier who's gone overseas for a minimum of 4 months, sometimes a year, a maximum 18 months, I believe. Maybe he's done that, or she has done that, and I use the term he, gender neutral, please, because there are military members who are women, men, and some very young women and men. They've gone away for 4 months, 18 months, 3 times over the last 6 years, and then they have to come back home and be the mother or father they were when they left. Maybe I was the father gone and I used to cook dinners. I come home and my wife's cooking dinners now because I've been gone for a year. I used to coach Little League. Well, I'm not coaching anymore. Someone else took my space. Those aren't the way I did things. I'd like to get back into it. Well, I've been gone for so long that someone else took my place. They don't need me as much anymore. People are doing okay without me. Let's multiply that 30 times for the soldier that comes home with a leg missing, with an arm missing, with his left side paralyzed because his Humvee drove over an improvised explosive device. That's why we say IED, because it's a lot easier. And now he or she has to reassimilate back into a family where they used to do a lot of things and maybe can't do any of them anymore. That is a very difficult position to be put in as a soldier. So what's the Wounded Warrior Project about? Since September 11th, 2011, they've helped returning soldiers reassimilate back into their families, back into society, and back into their jobs. It's not easy, folks. It's not easy when you leave for a short period of time to come to school and go back home. It's very difficult for a soldier that goes overseas and then comes back home after months, maybe a year of a deployment. They're also there to help the families because there's another half. I couldn't do my military job without my wonderful wife, without my 2 boys. They hold things down when they're at home and you're away. Some soldiers don't come home. Those families need support. The Wounded Warrior Project helps those families. It also helps the family when they come home and the soldier's wounded, that person can't do everything they did as a father or mother before. So they begin to set programs and initiatives in place to help that family and that soldier. They help people mentally. Not every wound is visible. You can be talking to a soldier today that seems strong, dedicated, confident, but deep inside, they've dealt with things in another part of the world who they didn't know who they were fighting for or why. They didn't understand why they were over there to do the job they were doing, but they did it, and they're struggling internally. They help people physically. They help them who are wounded for wheelchairs, for prosthetic devices, and issues like that. Those who come back, who are blind, who are burned. So there's multiple aspects of what the Wounded Warrior Project does. They also help them economically for economic empowerment. That doesn't mean they give them money. What it does, it helps them establish themselves maybe in a business or in employment with another company. They're a go-between between a returning soldier and an employer, or a returning soldier and the marketplace. There's a purpose for helping these folks when they come back. Their last goal is engagement. What it does is it links up a wounded warrior coming back from overseas with another soldier, whether it be for friendship, as a sounding board, as a person that leads them along the path to success. It's not just about the physical disability when a soldier comes back. It's the mental, it's the physical, it's the career, and it's the family. So let me quick. The vision is to foster the most successful, well-adjusted generation of wounded service members in our nation's history. Its purpose is to raise awareness and enlist public support. It's to help injured service members aid and assist each other. It's to provide unique programs and services to meet the need. The Wounded Warrior Project right now serves 56,443 soldiers. It also serves 7,920 family members. You've seen the commercials. Wounded warriors who come home and they meet their families and have to assimilate. Wounded warriors who don't come home. And their family now has another path that they have to move forward in and try to put their emotions and their feelings in a box and move forward without a family member that was there for so long and then left and came back and then left and didn't come back. Because we are such a great nation and our medical capabilities are such, there are more service members returning from war as wounded individuals, both mentally and physically, than there have been in the past. Folks from World War II, Vietnam, Korea, the medical technology back then was not as great as it is today. A lot more soldiers were lost back then. A lot less soldiers are lost today, but they're coming back wounded, and they need that support. So let me tell you a little story before I give you a couple facts, actually. A couple more facts before I give you a little story to end this. I went to a foreign country when I came back. This was the foreign country. I'm lost, scared. I don't know what to do to make it better. 75% of warriors have less than a bachelor's degree. Most military members are getting paid in the $30,000 to $40,000 range. Yes, they get some benefits like housing and food and such, putting their life on the line to protect us. This patch up here that says U.S. Air Force, yes, the U.S. stands for the United States, and it's on every other military branch service uniform, but that U.S. is about us. It's about this country our rights and our freedoms. Though it doesn't always seem like we're doing that job, that's what it's all about. Finding gainful employment is very difficult. It's very hard to leave a country, go do a job for 18 months or a year, and then come back and have to find a job or obtain your job back that you left. The top five conditions that a military member experiences: sleep conditions, restless nights, nervousness, post-traumatic stress disorder, you've all heard that, back, neck, and shoulder problems, depression, and anxiety. These folks deal with stuff that you can't imagine. You hear things in the news today, it's multiplied 5, 10, 15 times over when you're overseas. So I'll leave you with a little story that touched our family that could have had a profound effect in the Wounded Warrior Project and how we look at it. January 7, 2007, I was on duty and I received a call. I actually received 3 calls. I was in a meeting with the wing commander, got the phone call when I got out, called my wife because I knew something was wrong. Our niece, Elizabeth, Nathan's cousin, was killed in action by an improvised explosive device. Her job was to detonate those items so that other people could live. If she didn't come back, and I'm sorry to use the words in a body bag, she would have been part of this organization. She would have had no choice. We would have been tied to that organization at the hip. Sometimes we don't know whether it was the best thing for her to not come home or to come home wounded. But it is what it is. Please keep in mind, you have soldiers and sailors and airmen, Marines, doing a job to protect you and this nation. DOD stands for Department of Defense. That's what it is, it's defense. Leave you a last statement. The greatest casualty of a soldier is being forgotten. So please, don't ever forget. Thank you.